Yo, welcome in. Week 14 DFS Huddle. We're always on some little hiatus, but we're here for Week 14. Cowboys and Lions, the showdown. Now, these showdown slates, Eric, I've been going lighter because, especially this year, just more prevalent. These stupid fucking lineups with the defense at captain, and it ends up working. And defense, it's just a beating the defense and the kickers. But this
Yeah.
week, we got late in the season, no weather elements to worry about inside the beautiful dome in Detroit. Fast track, two good offenses, two beatable defenses. I'm hoping this is a first place lineup filled with running backs and quarterbacks and wide receivers and tight ends and no kickers and defenses. Please, God, no defensive touchdowns in this game. But I'm excited. It should be a good game. Week 14. How you doing, my man? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays to everybody. We appreciate you guys out there. Please hit the like button, subscribe button. Click the link. Come join the DFS Huddle. I fucking sucked last week, but Erik was fantastic. So luckily we're both in there because I was terrible. I couldn't get anything right. Well, a couple things like Darren Waller. I don't know, a few things, but Trayon Burks. I get that. Some things I got right, but mostly real bad for me. Fantastic job for Erik. But come in there, $15 a month, DFS lineups, bets, props, all the sports, college football, big weekend. I'm excited for the contests this weekend as we start doing the conference championship games. So come check out the DFS Huddle. Appreciate you wherever you're watching. Erik, my man, what do we think? Week 14 starting out with a bang. I need Gibbs and Lamb, baby. Gibbs and Lamb, and I think they both should have big games.
Yeah, when you kind of look at it, the Cowboys run zone coverage at the sixth highest rate of the league. Goff, 72% completion percentage, 10 to 14 to INT ratio. Flip side, Lions run man at the fourth highest rate in the league. Prescott, 13.6 yards per attempt, so he's going to take some downfield shots. I think you're right. I think this is going to be a highly effective scoring game. I think the strategy is you have to pick one of Goff or Prescott as kind of like the guy to like cover the wide receivers and then focus skill players on the other positions, if that makes sense. The other,
yeah, I think you have to make multiple lineups, is what I
yeah.
think. I don't think you can just have one path because, both as we're looking at the quarterbacks here, going into the quarterbacks, both these teams. So the Cowboys allow the fifth most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks, or the most, excuse me. The Cowboys still allow the most opposing quarterbacks. The Lions allow the fifth most. So both these teams are beatable in the passing game. They're priced $400 apart. Let's see. On FanDuel, it looks like they're very similar, but on DraftKings, they're 400 apart. Dak a little bit more expensive. And I think it's just pick. I mean, you can make a lineup with both of them, and I don't hate that. And there are some value plays where you can fit a lineup with both of them. Maybe you do, then put like a Gibbs with a Goff or a CeeDee Lamb or a Pickens, however you want to do it. But there is a world where you could play them both, and there is a world where they're two of the four highest scores of the game, or the two highest scores because they get more people involved. Now, I think I say advantage Dak. He's got a full complement of weapons. I don't think St. Brown's going to play. He won't be that healthy if he does play. So it's going to be, you're going to have like Tom Kennedy's and Tesla's out there. A little bit easier to key on those guys than CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. So I think with all the weapons at the disposal, you're going to see a lot more of the passing game to Gibbs, which they should do. They should have been doing more of that last week. I think you'll see a lot of that. So if I'm taking Prescott, I'm stacking wide receivers. If I'm taking Goff, I'll stack a value wide receiver probably, but I want a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs because I think he's going to be throwing it to Jahmyr Gibbs. What do you think about the quarterbacks?
Quarterbacks, yeah. I think you can't go wrong with either one. I mean, Goff eats against zone, Prescott eats against man. Both of them have a good matchup. Yeah, I mean, I think gun to my head, I'd probably take Goff just because of the price break.
Yeah, that few hundred might be what it takes, and we'll make a lineup at the end of the show and see kind of because lineup construction is probably going to be a mess. Yeah. And one thing I do want to point out, the referee for this game. Look, if it's not weather impacting games, the goddamn referees. I think these referees in this league are absolutely awful. This game is so over officiated, and they just do. And we saw it this last week. They did a terrible job. Again, their fingerprints are all over these games. Starting with that Friday game, just bad officiating all around. But Brad Allen has officiated 6 Lions games, and they're 0-6 in those games. Now, again, take that what you will. But it is set up for a high scoring game because even though Brad Allen, they kind of, you'll see his face, you'll be like, oh, this fucking guy, because he's messed up. If you just look up his picture, you'll remember, you'll go, oh yeah, this guy, he's fucked me, right? He's fucked me. But they do, by the numbers, call the second fewest penalties in the league. So hopefully we get that and not the over officiating. But it is an interesting stat. The Lions do not do well when he officiates. So I don't know if he hates the Lions or is always betting against the Lions. Maybe it depends on the spread. I don't know what Brad Allen's up to these days. We never know. We don't know. We don't fucking know. All right, let's go to running backs now. That's pretty obvious here. The go-to guy, Jahmyr Gibbs. I hope it remains obvious. I hope there's not a world where he lets me down. Now, we will say this. The Lions allowed the second fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs. Tough sledding to run the ball, and then throwing it is the key in my view. Now, the contrarian way. Now, everyone's going to be saying that, by the way. Me and you are going to say it. Cowboys are going to have to throw it. Lions, you can't run on them, but you can throw on them. Everyone in the world's going to say it. Every stat in the world is going to say it, right? Everyone is. So I have to make a lineup with Javonte Williams. I just have to because of that, where I highlight him, because it just feels like the shit that shouldn't happen just keeps happening, right? When you do these things, you put all this work into it. So Javonte Williams is the contrarian effort. Now, the Cowboys defense, much, much better against, you remember earlier in the year we were talking, they were the worst against every position. But adding Wilson, and adding Quinnen Williams in the middle has changed the run defense. So I don't think it's going to be traditional running up the middle. I don't know if this is David Montgomery day. Both these teams have had a week off, so it's not a short week. It's not a typical Thursday on a short week, right? These guys have had a full week off, which is nice. Gibbs is going to be in the passing game, giving extra boom to me on DraftKings. Williams and Montgomery, the contrarian plays, but I do think the run up the middle and just like the standard run against the Cowboys has gotten much more difficult over the last several weeks. You can see now they're only allowing the 19th, 13th most, 14th most, something in there. I'm not doing my math right. Fantasy points to opposing running backs. They've had a vast improvement recently with the addition of Quinnen Williams, obviously. What do you think here, running backs?
I mean, it's going to be interesting because in terms of like PFF grading, this is going to be the best run blocking unit that they've played since they did add Quinton from the Jets. I think the key is going to be they're going to have to get Gibbs to the outside. I don't think with the interior, with the issues of the interior of the Lions line, it's going to be an effective David Montgomery game. I think it's going to be a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. He had 20 for 68, really disappointed against the Packers. This is a must-win game for Detroit. If Detroit loses this, they're 3 back from that last spot. They're going to be riding the living shit out of Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to be pounding the rock with Jahmyr Gibbs.
So let me ask you this: you're the resident Lion. We see the cap, right? That's a Lions cap, right? Yeah. I mean, you're the Lions guy, because it gets frustrating sometimes being a Gibbs fan, Lions backer. When you're just like, Jesus Christ, look. I like David Montgomery's a good player, but get him the fuck out of the game. Like, what are you doing here? Like, get Jahmyr Gibbs in. Like, especially like it's 3rd and 6, and they're trying to set up a pass to David Montgomery, and you're like, Dan Campbell, are you this? Like, but all these coaches do it. I don't get it. It's like a pandemic in the league where it's the most critical down, 3rd and goal from the 4. And you look at the players on the field, and it's their 4th and 5th receiver, their 3rd string running back, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Did these guys bet touchdown props? Like what's happening where they're taking their best players out in the most critical moments? I can't explain it, but I would think with their season on the line, both teams, quite frankly, both teams need to win this game. But I would say more so, I think actually more so probably the Cowboys, but both teams need this game. Yeah. They got to play Gibbs more, right? You're going to see more Gibbs, right? They're going to lean on him a little more, do you think? Especially if Amon-Ra's not playing, which I don't think he will.
I think they're going to lean on heavily. I doubt Amon-Ra has not practiced at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'd be, even if he plays, he's going to be pretty limited, right? Unless he does like a Terrell Owens Super Bowl thing somehow. But
I think he's really going to. I think that he's not going to play. I think they're just going to pound the shit out of Gibbs. I think Gibbs is going to touch the ball at least 30 times. He's going to be heavily involved in his passing, heavily involved in the rushing attack. They're going to use a lot of like inside zone run to try to open up some gaps, some cutback lanes for him. Your thought about Williams, my worry if you don't use Williams is the Lions do commit a lot of PIs, them getting the ball at a shortened field on the 2.
Yeah, and just
instead of
rushing
being
it in.
TD, yeah, it's just Javonte Williams.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. I'm just checking Malik Davis, right? He's still at. They didn't send him down. I want to make sure that Malik Davis might be a value play here. I don't have him right here. I don't know why he's not in the database, but if you're looking for like a little tournament dart throw, a guy who adds a little spark, a little bit of speed, if they're not able to run it and they want to throw it a little bit and they're just heavy pass, Malik Davis could be interesting.
2,100 on DraftKings.
There we go. I think that's a value play. I think Malik Davis is a legit value play on this slate. All right, let's go to wide receivers.
I'm looking at it right now real quick. Lions run inside zone at 41.3% of the time, and the Cowboys are allowing 4.5 yards per carry against inside zone.
But a lot of those numbers are inflated.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
That defense is way different now, especially on the interior. So, and we know the best way to get to Goff is put pressure on the interior. He's also an excellent pass rusher, sort of that Bryant Young, Dana Stubblefield, defensive Aaron Donald mold who can rush from the middle. All right, let's get to wide receiver. There's gonna be some value here now. My boy Cedric Dumont Lamb. That's not his name, but that's what I call him because I love my boy Cedric Dumont. I love CD Lamb. I love him. And I know he's a punk and acts like a dick. And like that when he dropped that touchdown a couple weeks ago when he's like blaming Dak. So I'm like, bro, you dropped it. Like, but he's awesome. Pickens, he's a little banged up. I think Lamb, you want exposure to both wide receivers, Lamb and Pickens, but I think it's a Lamb week. I really do, just especially with the nagging leg injuries for Pickens. Lamb moving all over the place is going to confuse that defense. You mentioned how much man they play, and it's just going to create so many matchup problems. I love CeeDee Lamb. He's certainly captain viable. Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously captain viable. Both quarterbacks captain viable in my view. And then we get Jameson Williams at his most expensive he's ever been, right? 1,000 less than Pickens here. Now, these are the two teams who allow the most fantasy points to wide receivers. These are the bottom two right here. Lions, Cowboys, right? Jameson Williams is the number one guy. I guess the question is, do the Cowboys key on Jameson Williams? You know, we see this a lot where it's like, hey, he's got to get all the targets now, right? Because Amon-Ra St. Brown's out. And then it just doesn't work out because it's easier for them to key on him because his role was kind of like, hey, we're defending Amon-Ra, we're defending Gibbs. Oh, shit, he's super fast and he beat us over the top. Now they're going to ask him to be the number one role. I think he might be a little overpriced. But Tesla at 4,400, interesting. And Tom Kennedy, 2,000 at 4 targets last week after Amon-Ra went down. Kennedy's going to be on the field a ton. And Tesla's sort of gimmicky. So I think I'll have more Tom Kennedy than I will Jameson Williams. And I think I'll have more CeeDee Lamb than I will George Pickens. What do you think? And if I'm making it like a Dak, like a heavy Cowboy lineup, I'll have both Pickens and Lamb, and I'll just take all the fucking passing yards.
When Williams becomes the number one option, he has to run more of the route tree. Instead of him being the quote unquote big play guy, he needs to do all the stuff that Amon-Ra St. Brown does, and his route tree isn't as good as St. Brown. Kennedy, I think he's got the safest floor of the guys between Raymond, who could get some run at wide receiver, and oh my God, who's the other guy? Tesla. I think he's got the safest floor. I think Tesla has the highest ceiling, but he is dealing with
targets. Sure,
he is dealing with a hand injury. We need to remember that. Also, will he be scripted more into the offense now with half a week to prepare with no St. Brown? So I'm interested in that. The guy I'm really interested in is your boy Turpin from the Cowboys. We're starting to see him get some backfield touches. With how bad Detroit is in the back four, and they're just dropping like flies in the back four, we could see some over-the-top plays for him, so I'm interested in him. And when I looked at the numbers, Pickens actually has better numbers against man coverage than CD does. So
that makes sense to me just because he's going to get bigger chunk plays. Yeah. He's certainly, George Pickens is awesome. Talk about a guy, right, that has turned like the narrative of his career around. Now he's he's a legit number one. Like everyone knew he was really good, but like, can we deal with him? And is he just going to go from place to place?
I guess like my question with you with him is,
I worry about the calf. I don't like lower leg injuries, calf injuries, stuff like
that's
that.
the thing.
I
Like,
start and I know that he's had it a couple weeks and he was fine last week with it, but nonetheless, it makes me nervous because those are ticking time bombs. We all know it. We all know, and the calf. I mean, NBA fans, Kobe fans, Kevin Durant fans, we all know. We all know. I mean, it's if there's a calf injury, you're like, I just say, why would you don't even fucking do it? Don't do it because it's going to be an Achilles injury. It's going to take forever. So I don't know. I know the healthier one is CeeDee Lamb. I know that. And
but I mean, Reed doesn't shadow either. It's going to be interesting to see,
right.
Do they hide Lamb in the slot and then Reed is going to be over on Pickens? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and CeeDee's moving all the time.
Yeah.
They constantly, and so is Pickens. They're gonna have these guys in motion. It should be a good day for the passing game. If we don't get a bunch of penalties and we don't get nonsense, it should be, if we don't get a bunch of holding calls 10 yards back, please God, just let them play. Please God. But I think it's safe to say, with all how top heavy this is and how many, these players, it's not just top heavy. It's top heavy, good top heavy, because they all have unbelievable matchups, right? It's as good of a matchup as you can get. You can't get a better matchup for either team, right? And it's literally the best matchup you can get. The values at wide receiver, the Turpins, Ryan Flournoy, Tesla, Tom Kennedy, much lower extent Jalen Tolbert. So cue up the Jalen Tolbert 90-yard touchdown. But I think Tom Kennedy's interesting, especially DraftKings, the full point per reception, because I think he'll get targeted more. I do think that.
And with the Lions offense, everything's filtered toward the middle of the field.
Right.
And that's why St. Brown and Laporta are such big parts of the offense, because that's where those guys work the most.
Right. Absolutely. And anyone in there? So CeeDee Lamb, Captain Shore, Pickens Shore, Jameson Williams, less so for me. But any of these guys, like sneaky captain, I guess you're right with Tesla. It would have to be like a couple red zone, boom, right? He gets like 3 catches, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns, something like that.
I mean, like if he's got the highest ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, I think Raymond's interesting too. I think a lot of people are just going to shift their attention over to Tesla and Kennedy, but Raymond,
he hasn't practiced yet. Khalif.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So that's why I don't know if he's going to play either. Typically, if you're going to play Thursday, you should be practicing, at least walking through limited something on Tuesday. So that's a little tough. And they've been out a week. It's not like it's a short week. So that's iffy for me. If he's still not practicing, day 5, it's like, okay, well, I'm not sure you're going to play. Yeah. Tight ends.
He's out. He's done. He's not.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah,
he's out. There we go. So more so Tom Kennedy, Tesla, Turpin, big play upside, the Bassett, big play upside. And if we talk about, if Pickens goes down a little bit, then the Turpin even more so. And a guy we're going to talk about here, Jake Ferguson. And then maybe if you want to get crazy and you're making like 100 lineups in the doll something, Jalen Tolbert. Then maybe you throw like a Jalen Tolbert into the mix. All right, tight end, Jake Ferguson. Obviously, he's very expensive. Then it's a huge drop off. It's to the Lions tight ends without Laporta. It's my boy, Ross Dwelly, and Brock Wright. Brock Wright is another guy who did not practice today. So it's going to be the Ross Dwelly show, I think, at tight end.
And both teams middle of the pack. Numbers before when Kittle was out in San Francisco, so he's capable of doing some things. And
what about this guy? Now, they called his name last week. He's on your roster, Erik. Anthony Ferkser. And I didn't realize. It felt like to me we would turn on the Sunday morning every week for the Titans. And this fucker, Anthony Ferkser, touchdown. You're like, damn it, why didn't I play him in DFS? It's like Anthony Ferkser has screwed slates for me before. They threw to him. He played like 8. He was on the field a ton. Ferkser was. He's at 1,600.
I mean, if he's getting the snaps, it works out, man. Because like I said, like tight end slot, that's the Lions defense. That's the Lions.
It was his first catch in 3 years, dude. Doesn't it just feel like, okay, this is his first touchdown since 2022, and then they'll get 2. But it's I don't. If you're getting desperate, I'm just saying you're looking for dart throws. Those would be the guys. I don't know that I'm going to play either of them. Ferguson, how much Jake Ferguson are you going to play?
He leads them in red zone targets, and that's why I'm intrigued by him. For me, it's either Prescott and Perkinson or Lamb, or go Ferguson, Lamb, Pickens. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Just take all the passing yards.
Yeah.
Just take it all.
That's
Take it all. Make one of those lineups where the Lions just can't get it going. I mean, they're at home, must-win game. Like this, I can't imagine this is a bad game. The only way it's a bad game is if the officials just fucking won't stop. If they just won't stop, or we get, bad injury or something like that. All right, now let's get to the kickers. And look, Brian Schottenheimer needs to get on board with the fans, with the country, with what the world needs. So we just had Cam Little, his counterpart, his Aussie counterpart, Cam Little or wherever they're from, that's been playing, kicking, hit the 68-yarder for Jacksonville. Brandon Aubrey's got the leg to hit from 70. So those are the two strongest legs. Schottenheimer, he's had a couple opportunities to let him try. I think he tried one and missed it. He had the leg. It just went a little. I mean,
just a little.
Aubrey needs to get this record to 70. We want to see the fucking big leg. We want to see the record broken again. Aubrey, he just needs a chance. We need that ball to be at the 48-yard line of the other side right before the half, right? And Schottenheimer needs to not punt it, not throw it again. Let's get a 70-yarder. But both these kickers have big legs. They can both hit from 60, both of them. Yeah. So they can put up 5 points, and those are only 5 points still. They haven't upped it to 6 points as a touchdown. I wish they'd get rid of kickers in these contests. But, I mean, we saw it last night. Burrell Haas, first-place lineup. You had to have him. You had to have the Patriots kicker. And we just talked about all the offense and the penalties. What do referees love to do? They love to take touchdowns off the board. It gets them rock hard. Calling back kick returns and taking away touchdowns gets these old men off. It's their porn. It's their shtick. It's their thing. So do we end up getting a bunch of field goals that we wish we wouldn't have got, in a high scoring game, and you just end up having to have one of these kickers? They're both kind of expensive, $5,400 and $5,000.
I feel that's too much for a kicker. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you can't really justify spending $5,000 more than
right. But let me ask you this. So we were talking about, let's look at wide receivers, 5,000 and below. So Jameson Williams at 8,400. Then you get to Raymond, who's out. So then it's Isaac Tesla at 4,400. Ryan Flournoy. So who do you think? Like, the kicker has a great chance of outscoring Isaac Tesla, right?
I mean, if Tesla gets 20 and a tutty and 2 catches,
just with the way this thing is priced, like if you pay up for 3 high-priced guys and then you drop to the 2 kickers, that's live to win this thing. That's live. All it takes is a couple field goals and 3 touchdowns, and all of a sudden this kicker has 10 points.
Yeah.
And how sure are we that Tesla's going to get 10 points? He's done it how many times this year? Once. So, you know what I mean? This is what the fucking dilemma I have. You have to put the kickers in, especially these ones that can get you basically a touchdown in 1 kick. All it takes is one, 1st and 10 at the 32. Oh, holding, boom, boom, 1st and 20, draw play, fucking incomplete. Next thing you know, it's a 56-yard field goal. It's good. And that's 5 points. That's 3 catches for 20 yards. That's what I mean? That's a fucking ton of points. And there's not a lot of, there's certainly not a lot of security blanket here. They're more expensive than Tesla by 600, but I don't know. The kickers might be in play for me. What do you think?
I just can't do it in my head. Like, for me, I look at it. I would much rather have Turpin, Kennedy, or even Davis in my lineup at 36, 30, at 36, 3,000 or 2,400. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, especially with like Campbell could be going for it a lot more. You know what I mean? Like, he could be. If I was to bet one, I would go with a Cowboys kicker. Just because Schottenheimer doesn't tend to go for it as much.
Absolutely. I definitely he's 400 more, but I'm just, you know what I mean? Oof. Interesting. All right. And defenses, now look, we talked the contrarian thing, right? And I hope to God defenses aren't part of the winning lineup, but all it takes, right? First drive, ball tipped in the air, picked off, return for a touchdown. And you're like, fuck, the slate's broken. It's over for me because I didn't play. You know what I mean? So I'm going to edge it and hope something like that doesn't happen. Now, the risk for me, if I'm playing one of the defenses, I'm going to play the Cowboys simply for it because of the return upside of Turpin. He could break a kick return. right? At any time, he's an excellent kick returner. I'd say he has the kick returning advantage. Something to consider at 4,000. You know what I mean? It's a few points. If you don't trust, if you're just like, look, I'm not playing Tom Kennedy. I'm not playing. If you want, like, if you're just like, all I need is 3, 4, 5, 6 points, and I'm going to pay way up here, then these defenses are priced right. But I mean, the Lions defense have 4 fantasy points over the last 3 weeks, including a -1 last week, and the Cowboys have 16 over the last 3 weeks, including a 2 last week. So, what do you think?
I mean, with the injuries of the Lions defense, you can't trust them. They have a 0 in the special teams. They have no big play ability in the special teams in the return game. Cowboys have Turpin. Turpin's a big play waiting to happen. And I could see him returning a punt, him returning a kick very easily. And with how much Goff struggles against the blitz, the Cowboys do blitz at the 10th highest rate, but they only have the 17th most sacks in the NFL. So they are kind of struggling, to get home. If they are able to get the interior pass rush to Goff, then you could see the situation you talked about. Tipped, balls up in the air, bland pick, 6, something like that.
Yep, completely agree. All right, let's make a lineup, shall we? Let's and look at the one they spit out has both quarterbacks, both kickers, Jahmyr Gibbs at captain, and then Tom Kennedy. I swear to God, that might win it right there, dude. That might win it right there. So let's make it captain. They got Gibbs at captain right now at 16.5. We can save 2,100 by going down to CeeDee Lamb, a little bit more than that to Pickens. For me, it's Lamb or Gibbs. Those are my 2 favorite captains. You want to just leave Gibbs? Should we leave Gibbs? Or you want to go to Lamb?
Let's leave Gibbs. I think it's going to be a heavy. I think this is going to be a game where they're either going to give him 30 touches or he's going to leave the game with like a broken leg.
Okay.
You know what I
mean? I agreed. So next spot, we want to take Jake Bates out. Who do you want? You pick the next guy. I'll pick the next one. You can pick anyone you want, and we'll move it around. We'll move the salary around.
What price point are we at here?
Doesn't matter because it's we got to take these guys out. It's got Goff and Dak in right now, so just pick your player, and I'll keep switching them out.
I will take. I'll take Dak.
Dak. Okay, Dak's already in, so we'll leave Dak in there. And then we'll keep him in. That's good. And then I'm going to put CeeDee Lamb in. Okay. Absolutely. So now we got Gibbs at the captain, Dak, CeeDee Lamb. Right now we've got both kickers and Tom Kennedy in, and we have like 1,100 salary left. So who do you want to go to next? So we kind of need some mid-tier.
Let's take out Bates.
Take out Bates.
And let's go to. God, dude, I don't want to say Tesla, dude.
Or you could pay up, and we can get real cheap, however you want.
Let's go Fergie.
Jake Ferguson. All right. So now we have Aubrey and Kennedy left. We need to take 1,300 off. So that's going to come off of Brandon Aubrey, obviously, and that would leave us. We can't get to Tesla there. I don't know if Jake Ferg. What can we get right below Jake Ferg? Nothing. It's tough.
Let's go Tesla. Put in Tesla over Ferg.
So if we put Tesla in at Ferg, but here we're just going to run into it here and then go up from Aubrey to David Montgomery.
Would it surprise you if they just ran the shit?
We can go to Tom Kennedy, or you could just leave the salary on the table. Leaving 1,700 on the table, I don't hate that either.
I don't hate it at all.
So that's absolutely on the table. Now, another way you could do it, you could save a little bit, go down from CeeDee Lamb to Pickens a few hundred, or Jameson Williams, obviously. So different ways to do it. But as you can see, lineup construction is going to be interesting. One thing we could do here is if we just switch Gibbs, if we put CeeDee Lamb at captain and save 2,000 there, that will probably help get us to kind of where we want to be. Now we've got now we could play instead of Brandon Aubrey, then we could play Jake Ferguson, and we'd have 4. So we'd have Lamb at captain, Tesla, Kennedy, Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott, and Jahmyr Gibbs. That's with Lamb at captain. So those are a couple ways you can do it.
And
Again,
sometimes that's what you have to do in those. Like that's what I did last night. I had to pay the person I wanted at captain, and initially I couldn't get in, so I had to put someone else at captain just to fit everyone in.
right. And it's, again, you're talking about two really, there's a world where CeeDee Lamb outscores Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, where they both go off for 30. And if they're close in scoring and they both have good games, but you save 2,000, then that's, and I promise you, CeeDee Lamb's going to be less owned in the captain. This is probably the direction I'm going. CeeDee Lamb's going to be Lamb and Pickens will be far less owned in the captain spot than Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think will be the overwhelming favorite at captain. So being different here, we're trying to win tournaments. Something like this will be better for me. And I think that's a good lineup. You could go from Tesla to Bates too if you're like, I think you can. Oh, no, you can't. You can go to no one. Forget it. So that's a good lineup. But those Cowboys receivers at captain to save on Gibbs and still having Gibbs in the lineups the way I'm going to go. Please like, subscribe. Come join the Patreon. The lineups we decide to put out, we will share on the Patreon. I optimize often with these and show the top projected ones, all sorts of stuff. Click the link, try it, $15, best bets, props, all sorts of stuff. Follow Erik on Twitter at etop21, myself at DFS Bachelor. For myself and Erik, thank you so much. Happy holiday season. Let's win some fucking money. And as usual, good luck on all your future wagers.